The big news from India, the country saw a landmark judgment today morning. Few months ahead of the general elections, the Supreme Court struck down the electoral bond scheme for political parties. Before we tell you about the verdict, let's first understand what electoral bond scheme is. The NDA government had introduced this scheme back in 2018 as an alternative to the age-old practice of cash donations for funding political parties. Now, a bond is a promissory note that can be bought by anyone, including individuals and companies. These bonds can be purchased for any value in the multiples of 1,000 rupees from specified branches of the State Bank of India. The centre claimed that this way there will be more transparency in poll funding. However, the Supreme Court has come down heavily on this. It has said that electoral bonds is no way to curb black money issue. There are a lot of other ways to do it. In the next 2 minutes, I'll answer two questions for you. What the Supreme Court judgment said and which party has how much of these bonds. Let's start. Right off the bat, the Supreme Court unanimously called the electoral bond scheme unconstitutional. Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud cited violation of the right to information. Then came strict directions for political parties, donors and the bank. State Bank of India has been asked to stop issuing any electoral bonds starting today. Then came a directive that surprised many. All electoral bonds received since the year 2019, which is when it started, need to be made public. The Election Commission of India has been tasked to do it by the 13th of March. The details will have 5 things. Date of purchase, name of the purchaser, amount of electoral bond, name of the political party, and lastly, date of encashment. So everything will be out in the open. And the last big takeaway is this: any bond that has not been encashed yet by the political parties will have to be refunded. Let's now see which parties have how much of these bonds. According to the data we received from the Election Commission, the Bharatiya Janata Party has received more than half of all electoral bonds issued since the year 2019. We only have data till 2022, but let's look at it. BJP, in its own figures, puts the amount at rupees 9,208.23 crores. The main opposition party, on the other hand, the National Congress, came at a distant second, receiving rupees 964 crores. This is just 10% of the total bonds issued. On the other hand, as we said, over 50% of the total bonds were issued to the BJP. Now, at the moment, we do not have data on how many electoral bonds are yet to be encashed. We can expect some data by March 13th. As I said, March 13th is the deadline. But we need to ask an important question here. Can this ruling be challenged? Shailesh Gandhi, an RTI activist and former Central Information Commissioner, sounded confident that the government will review the verdict.
Okay. I look at it in terms of two basic things. One is, it's come 7 years later. Therefore, the thing becomes almost irrelevant. If you think of it from one perspective, the International Court of Justice decided on a matter of genocide in 2 months' time. They're taking 7 years. And why it becomes irrelevant is you can't enforce anything. And 99% this will get challenged. And the one other thing that I find slight flaw with in this order is it asks for 7 years past data to be revealed. Now that's problematic as far as I can see. A law is made by Parliament. Citizens are expected to follow it based on the assurances, guarantees, whatever it is. 7 years later, you are told, no, those guarantees don't hold. Who do you trust?
Vikas Singh, former Additional Solicitor General of India and the President of Supreme Court Bar Association, takes the point further. He explains how revealing the names with elections just months away could lead to friction.
I doubt if most of the people who have paid to these political parties would have done so if they had been told from the beginning that their names will be disclosed. So this creates a real problem, according to me, in this judgment, that people who have paid on the assurance of secrecy, suddenly they will get exposed. And exposure will mean a lot of things, you know. So, for instance, if somebody has paid to Congress party, somebody from the BJP will say that you did not pay to me. Vice versa, if somebody is paid to the BJP, Congress party will say you not paid to me. And most of these businesses are pan-India. And there are some states are ruled by BJP, some by opposition parties, some by Congress, some by smaller parties. So just imagine the kind of problem that these people who have donated will face by this disclosure now.